insights today. The United States has now imposed a fresh 25% tariff on Indian goods.
Talking about that additional 25% tariff on India, we're going to...
Now, the Trump administration's escalating trade war with India is facing growing backlash.
That US President Donald Trump has claimed that American tariffs imposed on India for...
The US President has started a chain reaction that's going to reach us sooner than you think. We have all seen the headlines, India-US trade war. It sounds like something from a history book or a movie. But it's not. It's a reality that could directly impact us. We are talking about a whopping 50% tariff on Indian goods. Yes, you have heard it right, 50%. The biggest question is, why is this happening? And more importantly, what does it mean for us, the common people of India? So, what exactly is tariff war? First thing first, let's understand the problem. The US has imposed a 50% tariff on a wide range of Indian goods. This is a combination of a 25% tariff that was already in place and a new additional 25% tariff. This is a move that makes India subject to the highest US tariff rate currently in effect, a position it shares only with Brazil. And the reason the US is giving? India's continued purchase of Russian oil and military equipment. The US is basically saying we are going to make it really expensive for you to do business with us if you keep doing business with them. But Trump must understand that India's purchase of Russian oil is the only reason the global oil rates are stable. That's something to be covered in another video. Let's get back to the US's power showdown. The tariff is essentially a pressure tactic to get India to change its foreign policy. The White House has even gone so far as to call India's oil imports from Russia an unusual and extraordinary threat to the United States. This isn't just about money, it's about geopolitics. It's a clear signal from the US that it's willing to use economic power as a weapon. And many, including our own Ministry of External Affairs, have called this action unfair, unjustified, and unreasonable. We may not understand it right now, but it is actively affecting us. Now, what is the impact on common people? You might be thinking, okay, big companies are affected, but how does this hit me, a regular person? Well, the answer is it hits us in ways we might not even realize. The tariffs are hitting key sectors that employ millions of people in India. We are talking about gems and jewelry, textiles, apparel, and seafood. These are labor-intensive industries. When a 50% is slapped on a product, the price in the US skyrockets. Buyers in America are already cancelling orders because they can get the same products cheaper from places like Vietnam or Bangladesh. One report even warned that with these tariffs, the gems and jewelry sector could come to a standstill very soon. For Kalpesh Patel, a diamond cutter in Gujarat, this isn't just a political headline. He fears he might have to shut down his business as the export orders are drying out. The livelihoods of countless people are on the line. Orders for cut diamonds are down and thousands of jobs are at risk. So, while the tariff is on exports, the impact on jobs and the economy is a very real, very personal issue for many Indian families. And this is because the tariffs are specifically targeting high-value industries that are crucial to India's export economy and directly affect employment. The ripple effect of these tariffs goes beyond just the export companies. It affects the millions of workers and farmers who depend on these industries for their livelihood. This is a prime example of how a geopolitical decision can create a very real, very personal economic crisis for people on the ground. While some of us are feeling the heat from a distance, various Indian businesses are facing the fire directly. Impact on businesses. This is where the rubber meets the road. For many businesses, especially those in the affected sectors, the situation is dire. A 50% tariff is a huge blow. According to one expert, at a 25% tariff, a company can still negotiate and offer some discounts. But at 50%, you don't have anything. Companies are suddenly in a state of extreme uncertainty. Exporters are getting dozens of calls a day from anxious customers. Orders are being put on hold. and the future is anything but clear. The tariffs threatens to erode India's competitiveness against rivals, as well as squeezing profit margins and potentially impacting stock prices for publicly traded companies. This is particularly concerning given that the US is the largest export market for Indian goods. The tariffs are expected to hit roughly 55% of India's merchandise exports to the US, which were worth an estimated $87.3 billion last year. Several studies suggest this could wipe out between $30 billion and $35 billion in overseas sales. While the direct export exposure to the US is only about 2% of India's GDP, the tariffs are concentrated in labor-intensive and high-value sectors. This concentration means a significant hit to industries like textile and apparel, which face a tariff disadvantage of over 30% points compared to competitors like Bangladesh and Vietnam. Indian gems and jewelry exports, worth nearly $12 billion, are facing stiff competition from rivals in Turkey, Vietnam, and Thailand. Even agriculture is not spared, with shrimp exports expected to be particularly hard hit as a 50% tariff is being added on top of existing anti-dumping and countervailing duties. This gives competing nations like Ecuador, Indonesia, and Vietnam a significant edge in the US market. These are sectors where buyers can switch their sourcing relatively quickly, which weakens India's negotiating position. However, this isn't the end of the story. This crisis is also a wake-up call and a potential opportunity. Some experts are calling it a blessing in a disguise. This is forcing India to diversify its export markets, looking to regions like Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. It's also a push for India to make its own goods more competitive and strengthen its supply chains, a move that aligns perfectly with the Make in India initiative. This can also be a catalyst for structural changes like improving transport infrastructure to slash logistics cost and propel manufacturing growth. The government has already started working on a four-pronged strategy to boost exports, which includes fast-tracking trade pacts and improving export competitiveness. They are also focusing on increasing free trade agreement utilization with countries where pacts already exist. Interestingly, while India's trade with the US is at the risk, there have also been talks of forging closer ties with China to secure key imports like rare earth magnets and fertilizers. So, this whole situation is forcing a major rethink of our entire trade strategy. This tariff war is more than just a political spat. It's a test of our economic resilience and our ability to adapt. It's a story of a country standing firm on its principles even when faced with significant pressure. So, what do you think? Should India hold its ground and focus on becoming more self-reliant? Or should it offer concessions to get the tariffs removed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth analysis. Your support helps us tell these stories. Thanks for watching.